You know that feeling, right? That agonizing gap between where you are and where you wish you were, specifically with someone you love. It feels so personal, but it's a feeling that's as old as time. Well, today, we're going to dive deep into that very feeling because we're exploring how William Shakespeare's sonnets tackle this exact problem, the pain of being apart, and the incredible, sometimes kind of desperate, ways the mind tries to close that distance. This one line, it nails the whole problem. You've got the physical body stuck in one place versus the mind, which can go anywhere in an instant. That tension, that tug of war between what's real and what you wish was real, that's the engine driving all the poetry we're going to look at. So let's set the scene. The speaker in these poems is physically separated from his beloved. And we're not talking about some vague emotional distance here. No, this is about actual miles of road, maybe even stretches of sea. This real physical absence is the wound, and it's what forces him to get creative and find a cure, starting with the power of his own mind. What's fascinating is that his first instinct isn't to, charter a faster ship or something. His solutions are all internal. He turns inward, trying to find some kind of philosophical or psychological loophole to beat the tyranny of geography. And this is his first brilliant idea. In Sonnet 43, the speaker flips reality on its head. He realizes, in this amazing paradox, that when his eyes are closed and he's asleep, he can actually see his beloved more clearly than in the real world. So get this. For him, daytime becomes a kind of night, a time of blindness. And the night, that becomes a bright, shining day, all lit up by his dreams. Okay, so starting with the simple comfort of dreams is one thing, but the speaker's mind gets even more ambitious. He starts to build these complex metaphors, using big philosophical ideas to try and construct a bridge across all those miles separating him from his love. Now, to get what he does next, you gotta understand a little piece of 16th century science. Back then, they thought pretty much everything was made of 4 elements. You had earth and water, which were seen as heavy, sluggish, slow. But then you had air and fire. And those, they were the light, swift, fast-moving ones. Just keep that in your back pocket. And this is where that whole 4 elements theory gets really cool. In Sonnets 44 and 45, the speaker basically splits himself in 2. His body, he says, is made of that dull earth and water, so it's slow, heavy, totally trapped by distance. But his mind, his thoughts and his desires, he says they're made of swift air and fire, so they can just leap over sea and land in a heartbeat to be with the one he loves. But here's the catch, the big flaw in the plan. When the fast parts of him, his thoughts and desires, zoom off to be with his love, what's left behind? Just the heavy stuff, the earth and water. He's left feeling hollowed out, incomplete, sinking into this deep melancholy. It creates this vicious cycle, a brief moment of mental joy, immediately followed by this crushing sadness. All right, so that didn't quite work. Time for a new tactic. In Sonnet 46, he cooks up this playful but really intense courtroom drama inside his own head. It's his eye versus his heart, and they're battling over who really owns the beloved's image. The eye argues for the outside, the physical appearance, while the heart claims the inside, the inward love. And he even calls in a jury of his own thoughts to settle the case. And the verdict? It's a truce. A deal is struck in the very next sonnet. The eye gets to satisfy itself by looking at a physical substitute, like a painted miniature portrait, while the heart gets to feed on its own private, inward thoughts of love. It's a way of making the beloved what Shakespeare brilliantly calls present absent. There, but not there. But let's be honest, these are all just clever mental tricks, right? Temporary fixes. So now, the speaker moves toward his final, most powerful, and, frankly, his most audacious solution yet. This one isn't just about conquering distance, it's about conquering time itself. He starts by looking around at all the things we humans build to last forever. Grand marble statues, gilded tombs for royalty, all of it designed to defy the ages and keep a memory alive. But then, he points out their fatal flaw. Even these mighty monuments, they crumble. They get worn down by what he so perfectly calls sluggish time. They get knocked over in wars. Ultimately, even stone and gold, they don't last. And that brings us to his ultimate mic drop. He declares that no marble statue, no gilded monument, nothing will outlive this very poem.
The sonnet itself becomes the true monument, a living record where his beloved will shine bright forever, totally safe from war, decay, and even death. It's an incredible claim.
Now, you'd think that would be the end, right? A triumphant victory over absence and time. But it's not. In the final sonnets of this little sequence, the whole emotional journey just takes this sudden, dark, and really unsettling turn. That confident poet who could make someone immortal, he's gone. In his place, we find a speaker who calls himself a sad slave. His incredible devotion has somehow twisted into this complete and total subjugation, just waiting around for whatever his beloved wants. The irony here is just devastating. In Sonnet 57, he starts listing all the things he, as a slave, is forbidden from feeling. He says he can't get angry at the endless waiting, can't admit that being apart is bitter, can't even wonder where his beloved is or what they might be doing. But of course, by listing everything he's not allowed to think, he shows us exactly what he's thinking. And this final quote just strips away every last bit of comfort. All the clever mind games are gone. The triumphant poetry is a distant memory. All that's left is this grim duty to wait, in a state he literally calls hell. And what's worse, he's not even allowed to judge his beloved's actions, no matter what they are.
So we end here. After that whole journey from clever hope all the way down to hell, we're left with that big promise from Sonnet 55. Remember? It claimed the beloved would live forever in the eyes of everyone who came after, in lovers' eyes. Well, here we are 400 years later reading this poem. Are we those eyes? Are we the ones who make that incredible 400-year-old promise actually come true? Something to think about.